Hello, everyone. Today I wanted to talk about AI as it pertains to entrepreneurship. There's a lot of speculation on AI at the moment. Some people love it, others are afraid of it. But I wanted to come on here and give my 2 cents on the matter. And what about my credentials, you might ask? Well, it's the same as my credentials on every other thing that I talk about. I'm just a woman making videos on the internet about the things that I have experienced in my daily life. So here are my 2 cents. Many of us remember the start of the internet. It started off pretty slow, but made accessing information much easier. Gone were the days of needing encyclopedias and phone books, atlases. Information was now available on our computer screens. If we needed to know about something, we could just look it up online. The information came to us faster, and it was more current than a paper book that had to be published, circulated, and updated every few years. Yes, this took away jobs, but it also created new ones. Fast forward a few decades, and the limitations of the internet have become very noticeable. For the purposes of the point I'm trying to make, let's focus on search engines. Search engines are like a type of index. You type in a keyword, and the engine finds the most relevant sites to help locate your answer. As we've become more sophisticated in our use of search engines, we started to use series of keywords to refine our searches. And as search engine companies have become more sophisticated, they started to store our data about past searches and other personal data to help them interpret what we might need when we type in something like scissors. But for the most part, we were still operating on a library-like system where you type in what you're looking for and the search engine pulls up its best guess of what you might need. People would publish information on their sites and on various platforms in an effort to get their specific information, tool, or product in front of the people that were looking for it. But then, companies would also pay for placement on these search engines. So we, the users of the search engines, have to interpret the data, cross-reference with other sources for reliability, and generate within ourselves a conclusion on the best course of action based on our knowledge of any given topic. But here is where AI is different. AI has the ability to take a prompt, to follow the logic, and formulate a conclusion that is based on a much larger set of data and formulate it into a series of suggestions on actions that we should take and a recommendation on the best course of action. For example, if you give AI a list of the ingredients that you have in your fridge, it can look through a plethora of recipes accessible to it via the internet and give you a list of suggested meals that you can make. It can also go further and suggest things that you can make with less ingredients or more than you mentioned. And it can look into its past history of you and make suggestions within a particular cuisine or dietary regimen. Like if you're keto, for example. A task that would have taken you maybe an hour and countless micro decisions is now synthesized for you into a suggestion, into a few suggestions and a recommendation in record time. So how does this apply to business and more specifically entrepreneurship? AI has the ability to pull data from all kinds of public sources to greatly improve the probability of success of any business that you decide to start or buy. A few weeks ago, when I was conceptualizing the package for a consulting service, AI helped me come up with my target audience. By sharing my idea with AI, and you can be as general or as specific in this step, AI was able to help me fill in the blanks, the gaps of my own knowledge, to help me identify my target audience and how to best target my limited resources to reach a specific subset of that audience based on my own expertise. I was able to adjust the variables in a form of a conversation in the same way that I would have if I were speaking to an advisor or a business consultant to hone in on specific strategy for going forward. And lastly, it gave me a specific timeline and steps based on the amount of time I was willing to devote to my project daily. So to go back to the example of I was giving a minute ago about the ingredients in my fridge that AI can turn into a recipe, if I wanted to make a site that could do that before AI, that can turn ingredients in someone's fridge into suggestions for a meal, I would have to compile a list of recipes, index them by ingredient, and connect them on the back end into a searchable format so that as the user put the ingredients into the search bar, the software would refine the search further and further. An if-then scenario. So if you have tomatoes, then you can make these 5,000 dishes. If you have tomatoes but not basil, then those 5,000 dishes would be cut down to 2,000 dishes. That include tomatoes but not basil. But the choices would always be limited to the original set of recipes that were programmed into the site. But with AI, the limits have all but been erased. You are now limited to every recipe that has ever been published on the internet. If it was published, then AI can find it in a fraction of a second. And with the right prompt, AI can even invent a recipe for you by accessing any information ever published on the topic of food science, taste combinations, nutritional optimization. You could even make your own diet. The limit becomes your imagination and the limitations of your prompting, how well you can articulate to the program what you want. Just a few years ago, you had to speak code if you wanted to create tech. But with AI, which we call large language models, you don't even need to speak a specific language. It understands every language that was ever published on the internet. But here's the caveat. It learns from itself, from your prompting and from the prompting of every other person that interacts with it. This is significant because this is becoming the frontier. While you are using AI to develop your next big idea, some other guy 6,000 miles away is asking AI, what are the best ideas for new businesses in X industry or X market? So the race is your imagination plus your prompting abilities plus speed of execution. How fast you can execute on your idea. But this isn't new. Competition has always existed. And we don't all need to be the best at everything. We just need to find our lane. The one that works for us and allows us to feed and clothe our families. So here's the bottom line. AI has presented an opportunity for regular people to move in business more quickly and with more precision than ever before. So if you are one of those people that has been afraid of AI, I'm here to tell you that you are missing out on your opportunity to carve your own slice of the pie, as big or as small as you want it to be. We are no longer limited by our formal education. The playing field has been leveled, and we are now only limited by our imagination, our ability to prompt, and the courage and speed to execute. There's a woman on here who always ends her videos by saying, as always, do what you want with this information. But me, I say, you are the foundation. You are the chain breaker. You are the beginning of a new legacy.